Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and today it's the tour video for February. And I'm actually filming this just a couple of days early because it happens to be a nice sunny day. I'm on the plot, so why not get it done, because it might be raining when it comes to the right time to film it, which will be sort of, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd of February. So this is about 5 days early. And I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with the way things are going. And that's really because I wasn't very pleased a couple of months ago. I had no broad beans and I had no garlic showing really. And now pretty much all my broad beans are up and pretty much all my garlic's up. So that is quite a relief. I sowed them a little bit late because I was away on holiday and then it was chucking it down with rain and all that, all the excuses. But yeah, I'm so pleased to see some evidence of life again. And I have got, if you watched my sowing and growing video, a tray of broad beans just to fill in any gaps, and I've probably got about enough to get everything fully planted. So really happy with that. And generally the plot is keeping up with demand, which is always nice. I'll show you some of the harvest photos at the end of this video. Yeah, we're actually, quite a bit ahead. So we're now feeding all of our family again with a good proportion really of what they eat in a week. Not everything this year so far, but then it is only January, so it's not that surprising. And we continue to lose lettuces. That's the biggest issue really at this time of year. It's just been so damp and mild. You get a lot of fungal growth problems at this time of year. No matter how much I ventilate the polytunnel and the cold frames, I'm still getting rotting in the stem of some of the lettuces. The big problem is we've got a lot of slugs, way more slugs than I've ever seen at this time of year. And no matter, one of the benefits of harvesting all the time, of course, is that I'm constantly seeing telltale evidence of slug damage, and that's slug poo basically on the leaves. And so I hunt around as I'm harvesting and try and find those slugs and take them out, chop them in half. Yeah, obviously I'm not catching them all, and I've got a lot of beds and it's hard to keep track. So one of the issues is, I really rely on watering in nematodes to get rid of the slugs, but that's not going to work on plants that I've got slugs in the heart or under the leaves or whatever, kind of hidden in the plants. The nematodes only really work if the slugs are in the soil. So yeah, I'm going to plant a few more replacement batches of the salad crops so that I can clear the ground and I can get rid of all the slugs that are in the plants and replant. And one of the benefits of actually switching all of the salads away from the allotment in sort of late spring and summer is I am going to kind of have that clean start on the beds at home. So I won't have had sort of continuous planting in those beds all the way over winter. Anyway, that's enough rambling. So let's go and have a quick tour. Right, so let's just start with a quick look around the polytunnel. So I've brought in all the strawberries now. These are all the earlies, and so these will start really taking off in a few weeks' time. And these give me a lovely early crop, and they really like it up here in the top of the polytunnel. And so yeah, these have been a great success. And then underneath here, these look a bit scrappy, don't they? These are my spinach plants, and they're only scrappy because we're just harvesting them all the time. We've taken so much spinach off this bed, and Debbie harvested it a couple of days ago. So oh gosh, look at all that grass coming. Need to get rid of that. So you don't mind me doing the weeding while I'm doing the harvest, doing the video. Yeah, so this is one of the best of my lettuce beds, and you can see it's not doing that great. Again, it's been harvested, very heavily. I mean, again, this was harvested only a couple of days ago, but Still, there's quite a lot, as you can see, quite a lot of problems with fungal infections on these leaves. Quite a lot. And this lettuce bed is kind of suffering even worse. These are doing pretty well, these Roxy, but these, which are bijou, I think, are really struggling. And those freckles, look, that bed's basically just been decimated. So yeah, I just keep on top of clearing up. But I'm not too worried because I've got plenty of spares coming on. So I've got some lamb's lettuce there, some little clumps of sprouts there to grow for leaves later on in the season. A few lettuces here, the early peas, lots of radish down here, broad beans to fill in the gaps, beetroot to fill in the gaps, and more lettuces down there. So all these lettuce problems that we're having this year are just a great example of why you need to overplant if you want to be assured that you can be self-sufficient over winter. Because conditions are just so different. This year has been incredibly mild and damp, whereas last year was much colder and a bit drier. And you know, every year is different, and so different things thrive in different conditions. This year the spinach is doing pretty well, the brassicas are doing amazing, but a lot of the leafy salads are not doing so great. And we've sort of just got enough for Debbie and I for sort of daily salads at the moment. Hopefully in March we'll have too much, but don't know, because of all those slug problems. So yeah, you just have to sort of overplant a little bit, and then you know, if you are lucky enough to have a surplus, give it away. The last few things in the polytunnel: loads and loads of garlic cloves. These are all the little tiny ones that weren't worth planting outside, but I plant them all around the edges of all the beds, anywhere I've got spare gaps. You can see them all the way around here, and these will all be harvested for green garlic, and so basically that's just a nice early garlic harvest when we're starting to run low from the store. And so this will be probably in May, we'll be harvesting the green garlic, and that'll keep us going until we start harvesting the main crop stuff in June. And the brassica bed's doing pretty nicely. We started to take some leaves off here, although brassicas are doing very well outside, but the curly kale we don't have enough of outside at this time of year, so it's really nice to have these few plants in here. Lots of nice little cuttings off my perennial kales. There's another one down there. We don't need a huge number, but I think what have I got there for, that will do. We have quite a lot of perennial kales, and we try and replace them about every 2 years also, something like that. And then I've got my little carrots. These are very slow, very, very slow. I don't really know what's going on with those. And I think that's enough for the polytunnel. One last docker plant, and unbelievably it's still alive even at this time of year, and we're saving this one for tubers for replanting. So just keeping it going as long as we can to get those tubers as big as possible, and as many of them as possible. And interplanted into my polytunnel beds, I've just got a handful of cauliflowers. I think 6 cauliflowers. We only have about a cauliflower a week, and so that's enough just to keep us going until the outside ones come on. And then we've got the same with calabrese down the other end there. Maybe you can just spot them. So now we're just going to do a really quick whiz round the outside beds, and quick because I think a lot of this hasn't really changed very much from last year, from the last video in January, but also because we've got a lot of heavy earthworking equipment on the allotment at the moment, and it's making a lot, not on the allotment, on the building site next to the allotment, and it's making a lot of noise, so I'm going to be quick. So that's the quick overview of my plot, all under cover. It's fabulous at this time of year, and I really should sow more of it because it just does so well no matter what the weather throws at it. And we started to harvest these winter marvel from this cold frame. My December planted Navara is looking really lovely. My winter density seedlings are growing pretty well, and my spring cabbages, they're doing really nicely as well, and they're under this kind of fleece just to give them a little bit of protection, but also it lets a lot of light through this fleece, so it's really good, but it's much tougher than traditional fleece, which I don't really use at this time of year. And I'm really pleased with this bed of Roxy. This was all interplanted with spring onions. Almost all the spring onions have gone now, and given the state of the lettuces, I'm pretty pleased to have at least one bed that's looking in pretty good condition. And I am extremely pleased with these onions. These are the overwintering onions, planted from seed in little clumps, and these are the tough ball and the stir on at the other end there. And yeah, I'm so pleased with them. They're doing really nicely, and I was kind of unsure about whether to have them in this little low tunnel, because obviously onions can survive okay outside, but looking at the growth on these by comparison with the growth on the ones that have been left outside, these are just really superior. And since the whole purpose of overwintering onions is to get them as early as possible next year, I think this is working pretty well. I will take this cover off in a couple of months' time though, because I need it for my early French beans. I'm also really pleased with these overwintering beetroot, and you may not be able to tell the difference from the last time you saw these, but I can really tell the difference. They're really growing nice and strong now, and very happy with them. I'm also really pleased with these red kittens. These are spinach, and Debbie's just been harvesting these like crazy for the last 2 weeks, and she harvested these only a couple of days ago. They do need a bit of a clear up. You see there's a lot of decaying sort of leaves around the outside. They're not really contributing anything to the growth of these plants, so they could all be tidied up, but yeah, they're doing well. So these black-seeded Simpson that I sowed about a month ago, I think, and I'm not sure what those are. Tessie, I think, at the back there. They're looking pretty good. And then right at the very back, there's some dazzling blue kale. I'm not sure whether we'll get much of a harvest off that, but it's worth trying. I've started to tidy up and mulch my strawberry beds, and I noticed there's a few elephant garlic which I must have missed last year, so I think I've got 5 or 6 plants coming up on there. And I've just generally been mulching with wood chip as much of my plot as I can get done. We've finished harvesting the carrots, so we've got no carrots in the ground on the allotment. We've had an amazing carrot crop off this bed here. This is one of our favourite carrot beds, and it's normally covered in a mesh. You can see the frame, and then once I harvest the carrots, I put cabbages in, and they break the ground up really nicely, so it's all really nice and loose when we come to plant our we plant spinach in here, and then in May we'll be planting carrots in it again. And we get amazing carrots out of this bed, just planted straight in the ground, no messing around, yeah, just perfect. Got a few straggly sprout plants left on my plot, and a few Romanesco cauliflowers, only little babies, but still nice to have. They just give us a bit of variety in the diet at this time of year. And just a few more cabbages here growing on, and then in my little flower border I've got some really nice perpetual kales. There's one here, and I use these bungee cords now to support them in the wind. Well supported. Flower border's doing pretty well. See, I've mulched all my trees and fertilised them down here, and then we've got another perpetual kale down here. And just take these kind of leaves off, they're not adding any value to the plant now, and so try and keep the plants reasonably tidy. There's a few, there's no point having leaves like this. Get rid. And then we've got branches like this one. Well, this is not going to survive, but this is a perfect source for cuttings. So at this time of year I'm always looking for branches to take off and new cuttings to take. This is Debbie's plot. We just finished mulching this a couple of days ago. The orchard area got this nice thick mulch for all the trees. These are the outdoor onions, just for comparison with the ones that I showed you earlier in my little low tunnel. The main crop that we've got on here still to come is this purple sprouting broccoli, and there's quite a nice harvest to come there. I think we've got a few little winter cauliflowers. They should be ready in about a month's time. Another perennial kale. This is coming on really nice. I've been taking some of these little shoots off the end here, but some of these would be perfect as well for taking cuttings. So here we are on Jennie's plot. We just repaired the fence the other day. So Jennie and John have been busy mulching these autumn fruiting raspberries, and we've also wood chipped all the paths. It was really nice wood chip. I'm really pleased with the quality of it. Brassica bed is still doing great. We're taking so much off this bed. I'll just give you a quick outline of what we've got. So we've got cauliflowers down here, cabbages not so great here, red cabbages even worse here, lots of really nice purple sprouting broccoli coming here and here, and then we've got this, I think this is 1,000 head kale here, and this is looking fantastic. Lots of lovely new growth on here. We're harvesting that quite a lot. And then I think this hungry gap kale down there. We've still got masses of sprouts. No matter how many we harvest, we always seem to have more. And again, huge quantities of colettes. And even when we've harvested them down the bottom here, we're just getting new ones. So not so bad. And the field bean bed, this is so productive for us. Last year we'd only taken maybe 4 litres off this bed by this time of year, but this year we've taken, I must have had 30 litres of field bean tips, and they're absolutely gorgeous, these field bean tips. I'll see if I can find one to show you. Harvest just a tip like that, or the tip like that, not the old leaves, just the new young leaves. And we actually harvested this whole bed 4 days ago, and it seems like there's new tips ready to go. And then this is the garlic bed that I was so happy about, and you can see why. The broad bean bed that I was similarly happy about. Not quite as good germination, but as I said, I got loads of spares. Slightly worried this was going to happen. Aztec broccoli. We grew this on here and I let it go to seed. I wasn't quite quick enough taking the plants out, and we have got a lot of it growing in this bed. So leave it a couple of weeks, I think, and then I need to come down here and hand weed all this out. And then we've got 2 strawberry beds. It's kind of hard to see the strawberries in here, but they are here, and they're interplanted with shallots down the centre, and the shallots are not, you can't say they're growing strongly really, but there is some signs of life, so hopefully we'll get some shallots there. Strawberry bed there that needs weeding and then mulching. And there we go, that's the overview of Jennie and John's plot. So I hope you like that quick tour video, and I'll see you soon.